Brahmacharya Vrati Dandi Sarva Vedanta Pandita Srimad Viveka Yogi Mam Prachodayadu Sarvada. When we look up to Swami Vivekananda, who stands like what we say, embodiment of divine energy in human form, a master of situation, a great controller of human minds, knower of truth, who has dug deep into his own being and unearthed the miraculous power of truth. When you look at him, we think, how is it possible for a human being to be an embodiment of this strength, vigor, knowledge? How is it possible? Swamiji himself says, we can become a master of nature, external and internal. In his own talks about Raja Yoga and all, he says, let us read some of his own words for the inspiration. According to the Raja Yogi, the external world is but a gross form of the internal or subtle. So the subtle forces are internal, but when they become manifest outside, that is when they become gross. See, a simple example we can see. My Ichha Shakti, I want to do something. Say, probably I want to read a book. What happens first? It is generated within me, within my mind, as I desire to read the book. And that thought is conveyed to the muscles, the bone, the nerves. And finally, the hand takes up the book. The eyes get the message, I am supposed to read it, and start reading. The knowledge jumps from the pages to my mind, to the treasure chest of our knowledge. So, everything starts at the internal level. And then, from there, from the subtle to the gross. So, actions are gross expressions of our subtle thoughts. The finer is always the cause, the grosser is the effect. So the external world is the effect, the internal the cause. In the same way, external forces are simply the grosser parts of which the internal forces are the finer, this way and that, reverse and opposite. The man who has discovered and learned how to manipulate the internal forces will get the whole nature under his control. Earlier, if you remember, I said, the officials of the government of the universe will obey you. That is what happens. When you have control over yourself, you have control over the whole universal forces. That is how our great rishis, when they said Tadhastu, they gave blessings. The whole universal power, treasure chest of power, will have to obey them because they have control over them also. Simply the grosser parts of which the internal forces are the finer. The man who has discovered and learned how to manipulate the internal forces will get the whole nature under his control. The yogi proposes to himself no less a task than to master the whole universe. When you start your asana pranayama, you have never thought that one day, if you want, you can become the master of the whole universe. To control the whole of nature, he wants to arrive at the point where what we call nature's laws will have no influence over him, whether it is cold or heat or rain or storm. Nothing can affect the yogi. He wants to arrive at the point where what we call nature's laws will have no influence over him. where he will be able to get beyond them all. He will be a master of the whole of nature, internal and external. Even to think about it brings some energy and power within us to be a controller of the forces external and internal. When the pralaya is coming, if we could stop, and it will stop, we could save so many lives, isn't it? So, even to contemplate on this power of a yogi gives energy, something happens to us internally. The progress and civilization of the human race simply mean controlling this nature. The end and aim of all science is to find the unity, the one out of which the manifold is being manufactured, that one existing as many. So this sort of a spiritual dimension was not known to the modern scientists, but Swamiji just ignited them in his Chicago speech on Hinduism. All search should be to get this, the end and aim of all science is to find the unity, the one out of which the manifold is being manufactured, that one existing as many. In very simple form, we can say, you go to a shop of a gold merchant, you will find various things there, but you know they are all made of gold. Similarly, you go to a pot maker, he has made so many clay pots of different varieties, but you know that all of them are clay. So simple. So, when we know internally that it is this force within us, this life force, this truth, that has become the whole, then wherever you see, what happens? Isha vasyamidam sarvam yat kim chal jagatyam jagat. What is the result out of that? Tena tektena bhunjita. You will never have unwanted desires. You will never have greed over anything, because you know all that is there within me also. I can get it anytime I want. You know, we hear about Sri Rama's Bharata going to Bharadwaja ashram on his way to bring Sri Rama. What did Bharadwaja Maharshi tell him? Bharat, you stay here with all your army and everything. Let them take one day's rest, let them have some good food and rest, and then proceed tomorrow. Bharata asks him, Swami, I have so many people here. How are you going to feed them? He said, oh, that is no problem. So what he did? He just meditated on Kamathenu, and lo, the whole forest was changed into a city with all comforts, sleeping rooms, dining hall. Everything was available. So out of which the manifold is being manufactured, that one existing as many. Raja Yoga proposes to start from the internal world, to study internal nature, and through that control the whole, both internal and external. It's a very old attempt. And again, let us remember why Swamiji was proud of India. India has been its special stronghold, but it was also attempted by other nations, but it was not perfected as a science and technology. That goes to India's credit.